You are now listening to Asking for a Friend with TalkDoc, sharing insights through real, honest, and practical ways to improve your communication and relationships. Featuring your hosts, Dr. Pamela Kreiser, Meredith Edwards Nagel, and Teighlor Polendo.
Holidays are coming. Holidays, they bring up a lot of things, whether it's pressure to gift, to give the right thing, how much am I reciprocating?
Holidays are coming. Some of us don't even like the holidays because of the pressure of gift giving.
I think that's very true. Yeah. It's not just about the item itself, but it's about what we're communicating with each other, right? So a gift can say something like, hey, I really thought about you, care about what you need. I see you. That's why a thoughtful gift can trigger gratitude and connection and closeness, while something that's mismatched might create some more tension or distance between people.
So do the opposite. You meant to give a gift and then it creates distance. Oh no.
Yeah, I think the example was you give a grocery store gift card. Well, that can kind of feel awkward, right? Between two people, it can kind of create a distance, showing the other person, well, I see you're really in need, versus maybe do like a dinner delivery can land a bit better with someone. So I wanted to talk about holiday stress, pressure, right? It's just really communication at the end of the day, right? And the gift is just a symbol of your communication. So I think if we do this quote unquote right, as well as you can, it can strengthen our relationships with each other. If we're careless, I think we can highlight a lot of distance in relationship, especially during the holidays. That's why I really want to talk about it. And then also, before we dive in to all of this, I'm reading a book right now called Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer. She's a professor, a scientist, and she's a member of, and I'm going to pronounce the Indigenous Nation. I tried to look up how to pronounce it. I'm sorry if I'm not doing it right. But she's a member of the Potawatomi Nation. And in one of the chapters, she talks about the gift of strawberries. And long story short, she was raised by wild strawberry fields, and her family used to give a lot of homemade gifts. And for Father's Day every year, they did a homemade strawberry shortcake for him. And the whole thing for her was that if they would have put store-bought strawberries, it just wouldn't have been right. She says strawberries first shaped her worldview because they're simply scattered at your feet the way they grow. A gift comes to you through no action of your own, moving towards you without beckoning. It's not a reward and you can't earn it. And yet it appears. So your only role is to be open-eyed present. Gifts exist in a realm of humility and mystery. As with random acts of kindness, we don't know their source. So I'm not going to go through the whole chapter, but she's explaining the difference of how she grew up in services gifting versus how she was blissfully unaware as a child that her parents must have struggled in a wage economy gifting, but she didn't know that it was a hardship. In her experience, gifts were always homemade. And so it just sort of touched me in this way. I get really nervous around the holidays. How do I budget? I write down all the people I want to buy for, and you go through all this, I want to purchase. Where she's saying, what is a gift anyway, right? A gift for her was time and attention. It was what she called red stained fingers. And it got me when I was trying to get ready for this conversation that I'm so worried about what is it going to be the thing that gets someone excited, but what does it mean? What am I communicating? Just buying shit just to buy it? You know, I wrestle with that every holiday.
Yeah. But is that also why we don't like it? Is because with the holidays, there is an expectation. So it kind of takes the joy of just like when you see something for someone you know and you're like, oh, I just had to get that for you. That's the best kind of gift, I always feel like. But then this expectation of, well, are we exchanging gifts? Well, what's your budget? We got to match and make sure the discrepancy isn't too large. I feel like that's what the pressure of the holidays is for everyone, because it's not just the joy of gift giving. It's we're exchanging now. It has to hit all these markers. Plus it has to be thoughtful and the perfect gift and make sense for their life. Like there's so much more, but I love, how did she say that? It's not something you earn.
Yeah, she said you can't earn it or call it to you or even deserve it, and yet it appears. That's how strawberries work, right? So your role is to be open and present. They exist in humility and mystery. Gifts do. And I loved that. She was going back to her childhood in this explanation of not knowing what her parents must have struggled with in terms of the wage economy thought process of gifting. And the way she explained, there's no way they would put store-bought berries in that. It just wouldn't be right. It was so important that it was wild and made together as a family. And she gets into a lot of other conversations about gifting in terms of if you buy a pair of socks at a store, you don't write JCPenney. But if your grandma made those socks, you take care of them. You wear them when she's around, even if you don't like them. You tell people your grandma made. There's this connection to the gift. This book paused my brain before the holidays to go, what am I doing obsessing so much about how much I'm going to spend? And if it's perfect, or what am I communicating with the people I love, and why do I want to give them things, So that's my rant.
I like that rant. So I love the idea. What does it communicate? And I loved the comments that it communicates that I was thinking about you. It communicates that I see you, that I know you. Like you said, Teighlor, where I know you so well that this thing jumped out at me and you've got to have the sweater because it's something you would absolutely love. Yeah. And I know you so well. That match is really magical. And I think that is a moment that I guess we'd love to have for all the gifts we give, where it's that suitable. It seems like a lot of effort. When I was thinking about this topic, I thought, is our problem that we're just getting lazy and we just go, well, whatever, I'm going to do this or that, as opposed to really deeply thinking about the gifts that we give? Because it seems like understanding that recipient and demonstrating that in the selection of the gift and delivery of the gift is the magic.
Because when you've received something and you're like, do you even know me?
Yeah.
My mother-in-law doesn't listen to this podcast. I'll tell you right now. My mother-in-law has given me some things and do you not know me at all?
Yeah.
And it's a bummer because I do feel like in her way she tries, and I try to see that more than the thing itself. But the opposite of being seen in a gift is
yeah.
Oh, it makes me sound ungrateful, but
yeah.
I also have felt that way, Mare.
Yeah. So you've received a gift and you haven't felt known?
Yeah. I honestly have felt I would rather you not give me a gift. My husband has done it. I'm like, oh shit. Do you not see my life? Do you know me at all? I felt that way. I'm like,
damn it, I miss being your neighbor living so far away, because I just had this thought that I wish I could just hit up Taco Bell, In-N-Out, El Pollo Loco, whatever ones else are out there. I'm just going to get all the sauces and just give you a heavy bag of sauce.
Because you know me.
And just
every side ever.
And be in your car for a rainy day. Just bag of sauce.
Yeah.
So that's a first thing I like to say. Is gifting is about how the brain releases all these like happy feelings and stuff. So the thought that counts, that's what I'm giving you for Christmas. Okay? Just a bag of sauce.
You don't even have to. The fact that you thought of that and knew that, I feel so loved. You don't have to do anything. The thought that you just spoke into existence, that was
my God.
So good. So good.
I love it.
Okay, can we get into the science? Because it feels good to give gifts, right?
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, teach me.
Oh.
Because I came into this podcast as I'm just going to learn, because I specifically, when we were talking money, I should learn how to deal with that.
Oh, in terms of spending it or how to budget? What's your concern about this topic?
I don't budget. What's a budget?
Oh, that's interesting to even just start there, because I'm the opposite. I want to give so much, but then I get so practical in my head that I don't want to buy just junk just to buy it. I'm not going to spend money on this. And then I'm like, I'm a Scrooge. So then what do I do? So yes, the science of it is interesting because it actually releases happy things, right? Like serotonin, oxytocin. When we gift to people, that is a good thing. And it also creates rewards systems between the relationship between the people, which is always back to communication. So that's the chemistry that's going on for the receiver. And I think that the giver in the research, it's called the quote unquote helper's high, right? Giving is supposed to benefit as much as receiving. Supposed to.
I think you have more of a helper's high if you put some thought into it.
Yes.
Because we've all given a gift that we go, well, this is not the greatest gift, but it's being given.
Right.
So I think you have more of a high if you think, oh, this is really going to be great. They're going to love this.
Yes.
Okay, but what happens? I heard some things from a friend. Okay, they would love someone to come and clean their house. This is what I'm hearing. A few things being said.
Yeah.
Think that's a great gift. I would love that gift. Give that gift. And I think that fell flat. I don't think that was appreciated maybe as much. So
Yeah.
There was thought, there was all these context clues, there was the spouse won't let them do this. Oh, great. Well, if it's given to you, then you can't like argue away from it.
Yeah.
That's the where
But I
that
didn't get
gifts
that high.
can't land right, or there's like mismatched things.
Sure.
Some of the research was talking about, when you see someone in need and you gift something, sometimes you have all the intention for that to land well, and it can create more distance. It can communicate more distance between a relationship if you give something like that. I think the example I was having is giving a gas card. Versus I'm gonna give you a coupon for sending you one Grubhub a week for a month just because I want to. However much you want to spend, that can land maybe differently, but also you can't control that, right? Message received is the one that counts.
Well, you can't control it, but you can investigate it.
Okay.
And kind of think, how would that person receive that gift?
Yeah.
What you can control, and the message received is the one that counts.
If you know the person well and you're really trying, I think that's defensible. But I also think there's situations where you can kind of figure out where the need's going to be. Like, for example, I know bringing a meal or sending a meal over to someone who's had a new addition to their family, if it's planned, they're going to be really excited about that because that's one less meal they have to make. And I'm thinking of some of my nieces and nephews, they have multiple kids, and this is getting complicated.
Yeah.
And they would appreciate having a night off, having help on that meal because there's so much going on. Obviously planned, obviously scheduled, those things.
Don't just drop by with the newborn.
Drop by with the giant chicken dinner. Although it could be received well. I don't know. So I think how it's received is that, but I also think it comes back to knowing the recipient. And I think love languages are helpful here. So we've talked about the love languages. We've talked about acts of service, words of affirmation, touch, quality time, and gifts.
Yes,
And the reason I bring that up about the love languages is I was thinking about one of our children who's very much quality time. And if you gave this child a gift versus an experience, they feel very differently about those things. So I gave this child sailing lessons. Okay. And I made a whole thing. And I teach sailing. Obviously, we know that. It was just making them formal. And we went out and did our sailing lessons. And this child thought it was the greatest.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. I thought it might be good to share some practical examples.
Yep.
Gifting can look like in an old way of doing it that could create distance versus a new way of doing it.
But I don't know that they're always creating distance. I think we're creating lack of connection. I think it's you get connection or you create distance. I think you also can have it be zeroed out where it doesn't really do more. It doesn't really do less.
Maybe more a good conversation would be how to share some examples for people listening and they're getting ready for the holidays wondering, I'm trying to communicate something. What's something that I could do instead of something I used to do?
Yeah.
Because you were talking about experience with a friend, right? Instead of just a lousy t-shirt or something because you think you're supposed to give them something, trying to share an experience with them, like a class together. I was thinking, I don't know, pottery class, or if you know them well, I'm thinking of what a friend I know would, by the name of Teighlor, would maybe try a new martial arts class just for shits and giggles. I got you this.
Dude,
this
trying
class
a
to
class,
together.
any class.
Yeah.
I love it. Let's go.
Yeah. So instead of just something just to be something because you think you're supposed to, maybe trying an experience with that person or something for them to do on their own.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think anything that makes someone's life easier, if you see a need, maybe it won't land for some people, but for some people, I feel like it's a really wonderful gift. I would say parents helping a parent out. Hey, can I do pickups or drop-offs for you? Can I take your kids just away from you for some time? Can I pay for a babysitter for you? Can I be your babysitter?
You know what? My sister, she was in higher education when my first child was born. And obviously working really hard, wasn't like rolling in it by any means. So for Christmas one year, she gave us the gift of anytime she was around, she would change a diaper. Until your kid is one, whenever I'm around, if you want to pass them to me, I will do their diaper. And that was like a coupon we got.
That's so cute.
One of the best gifts. So awesome. That's not really necessarily an experience, I would call it, but something that sees somebody and fills a need that feels cared for. Because I think, Teighlor, you and I might be different where we're very practical. Oh, practical. You got me something that I don't have to take care of,
Yeah.
Not everybody's like that. They like the little trinkets, and that makes them feel, oh, you saw something and thought of them. And that's okay too.
What I've noticed is it's stage of life. So
Yes.
I think you're looking at your relationship and what stage of life are they in. I don't know that maybe a retired older person would necessarily appreciate that kind of gift.
Oh, I agree. You were
Yeah.
talking completely out of your stage.
Yeah.
Saying, pick up the kids, drop the kids off, take the kid away. Something with the kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've talked about aging parent relationships recently in the last handful of episodes we've done. That's a good example. So instead of just
even a letter would be lovely to someone in a stage of life, a letter saying what they mean to you or what they've taught you, or asking for them to write. Would you share your story? Would you write down your story? Something that's not necessarily tangible, but long lasting.
Yeah. Yeah. We got that for my mom for her.
Where she writes a book.
Mom, we want to know your story. It's a book on
Yeah.
Etsy, and they fill in the information, and it's something for them to do and share with you, so you connect back. Hopefully.
Right. One of the most meaningful gifts I gave recently was my friend who was struggling with the loss of her mom, and I got her a grief journal, and I just knew that she was really struggling and needed an outlet for that, and she was so touched. It was so simple though, because it's, well, that's where you're at right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another one for aging parents, or parents if you have people that you take care of. I think sometimes an easy one is, oh, well, just give them money for Christmas. But sometimes that can just, it's not very personal. It's not a way of seeing them. And so a different option this year to let you pick from your favorite spot to have a meal brought to you, or saying, oh, we'll pay for your Uber to go out with your friends. So you can still stay connected and social without feeling like the weight of having to pay for taking yourself somewhere, or the nerves that come with that as you're aging and driving. Just a thought.
Yeah. That's interesting. I didn't think about that.
I was looking up different examples, and there was one for people in a work relationship that have people working for them. And instead of things like a box of chocolate, give them a half a day paid off of work. That's really generous. So something creative, or 2 lunch vouchers for lunch to be brought to you at work. Something to relieve something instead of a simple basic
I've got one
on
that. So I have, not every semester, but when I have been able to, I have given my assistant a paper off. So what does that mean? That means that I grade the papers, not her or him. Now, to put that in scope, we're talking about 150 papers that you have to read and grade. So it's a fair amount of time. And often my assistants are graduate students. So they could use the extra time during that end of the semester.
That's
so good. I'll say, I grade the papers. Happy holidays.
And that's a really creative gift. Like, okay, paying for a half a day off might be a lot if you're a small business or have an assistant or something like that. But taking the load off is a creative way to doing a work-related gift. I like that.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I've done that one, definitely. Not every time, but often. And it's very well received. But also it has to do, though, with getting into the mindset of the recipient. Because when I'm thinking about, this is the busiest time for my assistant, and then I just threw 150 papers on her desk that she's got to grade, or he, and it's a lot.
Yeah. And another example I liked was about siblings, that I was looking up people that live really far away and can't always afford to fly with each other. My siblings and I live in 3 different states. And so I was thinking, there was one that said, if, say, someone can't afford to make the trip with the family, you can schedule in a time that works for them, like a virtual cooking class together, or something you can do together. I don't know, the age of being virtual and all of these things. Yeah. It might be silly. It doesn't have to be a cooking class, but it could be something. You know? Yeah. There's got to be some virtual classes out there. I don't know.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Anyway, I like talking about those examples. I think that helps get in the flow of why this matters and what's the science behind it, and what are the motives, why do we even bother? And the big one for me was time versus money. That was a big part of this conversation that I struggle with, whether it's lack of money, lack of time. What do you get when you have both of those things combined? It's also stage of life, like you said. Young kids, lack of money, lack of time, all swirls together. What do you guys think?
No, I think all of that changes, but to the degree that you're in touch with the people you're giving gifts to, you'll understand what their current situation is, right?
Yeah, I think what I find challenging about this is that you just really have to know someone and know their life to be able to see needs or wants. And that is what is difficult. in this stage of life where time is not as free as it once was. So I want to get them the perfect thing. I know these people well, but I'm coming up short. What would they appreciate?
Mm-hmm. I think we should do a quiz.
Oh, goodness.
You have a quiz?
I have a quiz.
You would have a quiz on the most awkward, uncomfortable conversation I ever want to have.
No, I always want to do a quiz related to money with you, Meredith. Oh,
I need Jesus.
All right. You ready for the first question?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to love this. Okay. What percentage of Americans report they avoid talking about money with family, friends, and their partner? What percentage?
79.
67.
62%. Taylor's closer, which is a very high number, right? 62% avoid talking about money with people who are close to them. This is not even strangers, family, friends, and their partners.
Yeah.
But yet, interestingly enough, 66% believe that open conversations could help with building generational wealth, the wage gap, and transparency problems.
Wow.
So 62 don't want to do it, but 66 say that it's probably a good idea to talk about it.
Okay, I might be being kind of cynical, but is the percentage high because people want to have control in the home over money, don't want to talk about it? Or I'm wondering where that comes from. I'm being cynical.
No, this is all avoidance. This is not control.
Yeah.
This is avoidance. Okay, next question. What percentage of people say they, quote unquote, avoid checking their finances if possible?
Oh.
What percentage try not to even think about their finances?
54%.
47.
22. I think you started thinking very poorly about everybody.
I'm hoping more people look at it than less.
But actually, among younger groups, so in Gen Z category, for example, 33% say they want to avoid checking their finances whenever they can.
That's so scary.
Just put your head in the sand.
Yeah. Maybe I'm obsessing over wanting to talk about this because I'm always like, oh, where are we at? You know?
Yeah.
You check a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. What percentage of people report financial anxiety?
89%.
73.
I like that you come with these very specific percentages.
73.
60%. 60%. So that's kind of interesting. 62% say that they avoid talking about it. 60% say they have anxiety about it.
That makes sense. It's the same people.
Okay, and then the last question. In a recent study, which topic area did people say they were least comfortable talking about? A, religion, B, money, C, politics, D, sex.
Sex.
Is it a trick question? I feel like it has to be money.
You were right, Taylor. But you want to say
generally?
What?
But I want to say politics is what I want to say.
That was my first thought, but I feel like generally.
So this is a study just done in 2025. Many Americans are more comfortable talking about polarizing topics like politics, religion, or sex rather than talking about personal finances.
Wow. That was a trick question.
Okay.
Those were good questions.
I thought it was interesting. We watched an interview with Dr. Orna, and she's talking about money. And I thought what really highlighted to me was the reason it's difficult to talk about money is because you're essentially talking about reality. And a lot of people don't want to live in reality. Well, how much do we have? How much can we spend? What's the reality? Yeah. I feel like
she's kind of a savage.
We want to put our head in the sand because we don't want to face reality. And that's why talking about money can be so challenging.
That is spot on.
Yeah, she's great.
No, that is interesting related to the quiz, not even wanting to look.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Reality. Huh. Okay.
Reality.
That's very good.
She also talks in that video, which we'll share, about gifts and tying into boundaries.
Okay.
Which I think is really fascinating because we talk about boundaries all the time.
What'd you find interesting?
In terms of the ownership over money, what's mine, what's ours, how can we talk about it? I think you can get into a world of different conversations with this topic, but I just think somebody that thinks I own the money, I make the money, like I have ownership over versus what's ours. How are we gifting? Maybe how are we spending?
Yeah,
how that conversation raises different things. Well, that also is an avoidance maybe of reality, of money being this thing that is for the family or for the group.
Yeah.
It just a lot of that mine versus ours conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, it feels good to get gifts. It feels good to give gifts, right? We got all our brain chemicals releasing there.
Here's the $1 million question. How are we not going to screw it up this year? Or let's lower the bar. How do we screw it up? How do we screw it up less?
Okay, I like that. I like lowering the bar, and I'm always about the practical. What do we do? What's a good strategy?
What do we do to screw it up less and make less distance and more connection?
Yeah, and just hopefully less stress around it. Planning ahead is a good way if you're worried about your budget-friendly way of doing this. Have a realistic limit. Like for who you're spending. I like to look at that visually. I write down all the people that are important to me and make a good limit and keep within that. So that way it's fair. If you're gifting to siblings and things are equal value, and have different things like creative options. My husband's family, I love, there's like 30 freaking people. So we do just a gift exchange. And I love that someone brought that up and then sets a limit at it. And it could be homemade, it could be bought, but there's a limit. So people don't feel like they're not able to give as much.
Right.
And then also bringing up like love languages, acts of service, shared experiences, things like that can be good. Have more emphasis on the thoughtfulness of your gift versus how much you're trying to spend always. And that's a tough one when you feel like you don't want to reciprocate less, but think about the gift being a thoughtful thing in your relationship and communicating thoughtfulness and seeing the other person rather than just the number sign.
And would we say engage a conversation? If you can't do it and you're having a bunch of stress, I hope they don't give me a gift because I cannot afford to get them a gift.
Sure.
Just engage the conversation might be less stressful to you and just say, hey, I just want you to know I love you a lot and I'm not exchanging gifts.
That sounds
this year.
Equally stressful, that conversation.
No, I mean, yeah, I'm not going to do it, but maybe someone else should.
Oh my God.
Do what I say. I don't know. Is it easier to have that conversation or get a gift and be empty-handed? You have to ask yourself what's worse for you.
Okay.
You could say what's worse for you or what's better for them.
Sure.
It doesn't have to be mitigating your negative. It could be also mitigating the other person's negative and saying what's good for us.
That was a good reframe.
Yeah.
But I do think that having a conversation about some of these things is a good idea. I have through the years found friends where I say, so let's not exchange this year is what I'm thinking. And they're like, oh, good.
Yeah.
Let's not exchange.
Or even texting a group, hey, instead of gifts, can we all just hang out together and have a game night or go to a movie together or whatever your group activity? Because that's 5 gifts and let's just do one thing together.
Good point.
Stressful.
All right, bring it home, Meredith.
Yes. So basically the heart of this for me, money and gifting, there's always some tension behind that, some awkwardness, I feel. At the heart of it is really just learning that this time of year doesn't have to be just about the thing itself, but about the thoughtfulness that comes behind that and the communication and the relationships that you're trying to value and show your care for. A big takeaway for me is just know that gift giving is really tied in a lot of human history to connection. And that's so neat. So to not take away the thoughtfulness from that piece, and also know that when you mismatch gifts, unfortunately, that can backfire. So try to focus on the thoughtfulness and not just filling an exact need or doing what you think is quote unquote right. Time-saving gifts can land really well for people that you think are in need in your life. Also just knowing that generosity benefits both the gift giver and the receiver. I think the big takeaway for me is the thoughtfulness behind it, not the dollar sign.
Yeah.
That in itself is the reciprocity I want to give to people I'm in a relationship that we exchange gifts with. The thoughtfulness, not how much it was. And if that's really intended that way, and hopefully your holidays can be a little bit more smooth. And you can also try to be simply brave, as Teighlor put it, and just have the conversation. That's easier said than done for sure. But if you're able to be brave, I'm just not in the place to give this year. Is that okay? And that's hard to find, and I'm grateful to have it. So if you're struggling with how to have that, I think try to lean in and find a way to just be thoughtful in the process. Yeah.
Once again, thank you for joining us today. Please remember to rate, share, and subscribe to our podcast. And thank you for listening to Asking for a Friend.
Let us know what you thought of the episode. Our email is hello@afafpodcast.com. This show is for educational purposes only and is copyrighted. Written permission must be granted before syndication or rebroadcasting. Thanks for listening to Asking for a Friend with TalkDoc.